Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Tracy Takes On, a show that talks about the pertinent political issues of the day. I have a full panel in the house. I'm so glad. I got Talisha, I got Charles, and I got guest David here today. Wave hi to the camera, everybody. We've got a whole lot. Wave, everybody. I can't see.
Hi.
Okay, thank you. We have a whole lot to talk about, so I'm going to start with David. And so I wanted to talk to you, David, quickly about the Green Party. Specifically, you're with the Indiana Green Party. And I wanted to talk about what is it exactly that you all, not that I'm not a part of the group, I am, but I want you to specifically talk about what it is that what it is that the Green Party is trying to accomplish leading up to the next election.
Well, thank you so much for having me on today, Tracy. I really do appreciate it. In terms of what we're trying to accomplish leading up to the next election, at this point here in Indiana, we're organizing and re-strategizing. And, this year's actually an off year. There's no elections this year of any significant note here in Indiana. But coming up next year is when election season starts rolling around again, and we're getting ready and souped up for that. So we're looking forward to it.
Okay, so when you say getting ready, talk specifically about what you mean by getting ready.
Well, there's right now we're asking and canvassing for candidates at this point. We're looking at building candidate teams and collecting volunteer information. All kinds of positions are going to be available on a voluntary basis. Really kind of depends on what you're looking for. And once we have a good core team together, we're going to be implementing a strategizing session and get everybody on the same page moving forward, and instead of everybody doing their own thing like it's.
And I know here in Indiana, the Green Party has to gather so many signatures. How many signatures, let's just say I'm just going to go for the big offices like governor, secretary of state. How many signatures is it that you're looking that has to be had, and how many are you wanting to gather?
Well, we can start collecting them in January of the year of the election. So whatever it is at that point, but on a statewide basis, it really just kind of varies. But at this point, at a minimal basis, a bare minimum of 45,000 actual valid signatures.
Wow. Yep, that's a lot. That's our state. And don't we just love Indiana? David, I don't know, this is your first time on the show, so I tell you how it kind of works. I break down some of the issues with my panelists. Y'all kind of jump in. We don't scream at each other, so don't scream. But we're going to kind of talk about some issues today. And the first one on the docket is the stimulus. I don't understand and the whole debacle of the unemployment, the $15 minimum wage not being included. The Democrats, to me, had two, COVID relief and a $15 minimum wage. Thanks to the shenanigans of the parliamentarian who they want to keep blaming, it doesn't look like either of those are going to happen. Anybody want to take that first and kind of calm me down, because I'm pretty stirred up about this one?
Well, I'll take it, but I don't know if I'm gonna calm you down. So they got to Bernie, and they're pressuring him and Ron Wyden to take the $15 minimum out of the bill completely, to not even be voted on in committee. So it looks like it's going to hold up that this non-elected position of the Senate parliamentarian gets to decide that apparently the elected vice president doesn't have a vote in Congress and can't basically take her recommendation and kick it out the door. So like you said, the very, very bare minimum of promises that Joe Biden promised is now backburnered and probably will not be taken up in the next 4 years. I'm sick of these Democrats. I'm disgusted that they're using this as a shield for them. And anybody that's paying even an ounce of attention, they'll know that this is just a ruse. And they know that these people have the power to overrule the Senate parliamentarian. They can fire her. They can just ignore her. Kamala can, basically overrule her, like I said. So it's just them wanting to maintain bare minimum and do exactly what their donors want.
David, you go next.
So at this point, as far as I understand it, the Democrats aren't doing what we put them there in office to do, which is to raise the minimum wage, among other things. In my experience, Republicans don't let things like Senate parliamentarians get in their way of, manhandling the country in the worst way. I don't think we should allow that either on the left side of things. So, if I was in power, I definitely would be using all the tools available to me. And that's not what Democrats are doing at this point in time. So it's not a good look. I don't like it either.
Yeah. What about you, Charles?
Well, I'm not sure why the $15 minimum was put into the COVID bill. I mean, to me, that should have been a separate bill from the get-go. Then it shouldn't have been no problem with passing it then.
Well,
Well, it wouldn't have passed.
Yeah, let me.
It would not have passed.
Yeah, why the $15?
Why wouldn't it have passed?
Because, well, let me backtrack and answer your question, Charles. The reason that the $15 bill was put into the COVID because there was a group of legislators advocating for $2,000 a month checks. And somehow the Biden administration convinced them, hey, we'll do this $15 minimum wage and it'll, quote, make up for the fact that you're not going to get $2,000 checks. That's why it was put into this COVID relief. The chances of it by itself, it's not going to pass by itself because you're going to have 60, if I'm wrong, please correct me. You're going to have 60 legislators vote for it. You already have 2 Democratic senators that said they're not going to vote for it. So now that's 48.
Wait a minute. Okay. So let's back up for a second. Well, how can they pass the COVID bill with 50 senators?
But they haven't passed it yet.
I'm sorry, 51 senators, but you said they would need 60 just for the minimum.
Because
minimum.
They haven't passed the COVID relief bill yet. The COVID
bill. No, but I'm saying what they need. That's all they need to pass the COVID is.
Well, let me interject. I can tell you guys. I can tell you.
Okay.
I thought it was 60, but correct me if I'm wrong.
So you're both right. So yes, first of all, COVID is a must-pass bill. It is something that falls within the budgetary guidelines. So it could they could do budget reconciliation if they have to, so they don't have to get the 60 votes. Since the parliamentarian is saying that raising the minimum wage is not within our country's budget, it doesn't follow the Byrd rules, then it would take all of Senate to have to, well, not all of Senate to have to vote on it, but the majority of Senate to have to vote on it for it to pass. Now, if we kept it in that COVID bill coupled together, they would kind of be forced to vote for it, whether we just did budget reconciliation, or if we had to go before the whole Senate and they would try to filibuster it, but then the world will come down on them for not voting for this must-pass COVID bill. So separately, they both could go before a whole Senate, but because the COVID bill falls within the guidelines of, yes, I guess it passes the Byrd rule, they could pass it during budget reconciliation with no issue.
Yep, and that's what I forgot. Thank you, Talisha, for clearing that up.
You're welcome.
That's the part I forgot. So that's why it's not by itself, because if it's by itself, it's not going to pass the Senate. Not by itself. No, there's no way. You got Joe Manchin already against it. You got, what's her name from Arizona? Cinnamon?
Kristen Sinema. Did you say Cinnamon?
I said Cinnamon. I'm sorry, Cinema. Cinnamon. Her.
So any Democrat who backs out anything, the bill ain't gonna pass. So
it's true false, really, because if it doesn't fall under that Byrd rule, it's gonna need 60 to pass. Period. It's gonna need 60. Now, true enough, all the Democrats would have to do in this case, they could, just like Talisha and David said, just ignore what the parliamentarians say. what that parliamentarian is saying, it's not law. It's just her
A
opinion.
suggestion.
Yeah, it's basically just a suggestion. Nobody has to go by what she's saying. Nobody has to do it, but the Democrats who, in my opinion, never wanted a $15 minimum wage are now trying to use this as an excuse. I don't think they ever wanted it.
That's probably true. I believe, to me, this bill ain't nothing but like a tennis ball. It just keep bouncing back and
Absolutely.
forth between the House and Senate. It wouldn't surprise me if it has to go back to the House when it
It
leaves the
will.
Senate. They might want to take something else out of it.
Well, the House surprisingly, well, no, not really surprisingly, they went ahead and put the $15 into the bill, knowing good and well that the administration wasn't going to use it. And I haven't, and I don't know if you guys have heard it. Has anyone heard Vice President Harris talk about why she won't vote against the parliamentarian, or is this just now something we're supposed to expect them to do?
Nope.
She hasn't said a word. The only thing we've ever heard is Biden's chief of staff, Ron Flame, state that they're not going to overrule her. But Kamala has not stated, her reasons for it. She's just letting them talk for her.
Yeah, because if she wanted to run just as president on her own, I don't know whether it would make sense for her to go against the president at this point. Because and I don't know if that's a game she's willing to play.
Right.
But it's not a hard thing to do. They could just agree. We're going to just ignore what this parliamentarian says. How are they going to expect to go back to the voters and say, you know what, we would have voted for that $15 minimum wage, but that dang on parliamentarian stop. Nobody is going to accept that as an excuse.
It's not going to fly.
But yeah.
So now, if they take it out,
Mm-hmm.
then that means that the bill has to go back to the House first before it goes to the president.
Yes.
Yes. If they take it out, then that means he's going back.
So it's bouncing back and forth, just like a tennis ball.
Yep, and that means we're not going to get COVID relief until at least maybe April, possibly May.
Let's be real honest. We're not going to get COVID relief until COVID's over.
That's true.
They're going to delay the bejesus out of this thing. They just drag on it and volley it back and forth.
You know what, David, though? I wish they would just come out and say, we don't want, just be like the Republicans. The Republicans are at least being honest and saying, no, we're against relief. Okay, I disagree with it, but at least you're telling me, honestly what you think. Instead of this whole thing that Joe Biden did in Georgia, you're going to get immediate checks and they're going to be $2,000. Now they're not, and the people in Georgia are going to remember this no matter how much they try to campaign around it. It's as though not only do they want to win, they just want to lie. And I just don't understand, as much as I dislike the Republican Party, and Lord knows I dislike the Republican Party, at least they tell me, you know what? I'm not for $15 an hour. It's too much. I got that. I got an honest opinion. No matter what your dumb reasoning is, okay, I now know what you think. Instead of this whole, I'm for it. Oh, well, the parliamentarian, I'm so frustrated.
What you got to remember too, Tracy, they were not anticipating winning Ossoff and Warnock seats.
No.
The next 4 years was supposed to be, we were going to do it, but Mitch McConnell. And then they lost that. So what's the next excuse they can use? The parliamentarian, Senate rules and procedures, something from an unelected position. That's all they have, because they weren't supposed to catch this car. So now that they've caught this car, they don't know what the heck to do with it.
Someone should just tell them, hey, dumb butts, keep the promise that you made. Nobody put a gun to Joe Biden's head and said $2,000. He could have just said $1,400 from jump. Okay, $1,400 is not enough. Let's just be honest. $1,400 is a joke. I could spend $1,400 without walking outside. I could just buy one thing and that's it. It's gone. But he could at least said, okay, it's $2,000 minus $400. Say that up front. But no, what does he do? He promises for $2,000. He didn't promise four. Let me say that he didn't. I was about to say four. He wasn't smart. He wasn't dumb enough to promise four. But it's like, why? I agree with you, Talisha, but it frustrates me to the end all, be all that we, the public, we just let the Democrats get away with this. And I'm just like, no, it's time to make this stop. We have got to put their feet to the fire and say, hey, either give it to us or you're getting out of office.
Absolutely. And I think come 2022, the reckoning will come. Folks are either not going to vote or they're going to vote for some insane person like they did 4 years ago when Trump ran for office because he was at least saying the right things. And so that's what's going to happen. And they're going to lose the House. They're going to lose the Senate. And best believe in 2024, President Tom Cotton, who is a smart fascist, will be running our country.
You think Tom Cotton is going to get the nomination?
I absolutely think Tom Cotton's going to get the nomination.
Trump is going to get it again.
Trump's not running. Trump has all the power of a president without having to be the president. You see the way that they just kiss his feet.
Oh, Charles wanted to say something. I'm sorry.
If he's not in jail, okay? He's got all kind of issues. You think it's funny? It's not funny.
Trump's not going to jail, Charles.
He sure not. We would love for him to go to jail. You know, I'll be like, hey, we're going to throw a party.
He ain't went to court yet. He hasn't went to, now he's out. Give him a minute, you know. Plus, he's still got this capital thing that is going to be in court. He's got all the sexual lawsuits that's going to be in court. He got the Georgia election going to be in court. What else? He got Manhattan.
Oh, you think the Georgian legislature is going to hold him accountable? That same Georgia legislature that just passed oppressive
voting laws? No.
Today?
No.
They're not going to hold him accountable.
Could you imagine, though, how difficult, and even though I refuse to call him president, how difficult that's going to be to put a president in jail? You're going to have
He's going to pay a couple of fines, settle some
he's going to
lawsuits.
maybe pay a fine. Maybe. That will be the worst thing that would happen to him. He's not even going to get an ankle bracelet at this point. I'm like, nothing's going to happen to him. Unfortunately, I would love to see him go to jail. That would make my whole life just like, yep, I'm perfect. I'm good. But it's not going to happen. I think if he doesn't go to jail again, he's running because his ego, that ego of his, it just won't stop.
Yeah, but like I said, right now he's getting all the benefits of a presidency. The whole GOP, they made a golden Trump statue. Come on. He's getting all the accolades without having any of the responsibility, having any of the media just watching his every move, but he still is a kingmaker. You saw what Nikki Haley just did? Now she's back to praising Trump after she said we followed him wrongly.
Who?
Listen,
I'm sorry?
Trump don't want Nikki Haley. She just tweeted out yesterday that his speech was so strong and he's a great leader of the GOP. And oh my God, I threw up. So he's fine. He's fine right where he is. He's loving life in Mar-a-Lago, and they're probably throwing money at him, hand over fist.
No personality, Tom Cotton. That man.
I think he's smart enough to do it. If not him, DeSantis.
No personality, but I'd almost go Mitch McConnell over him. But Mitch McConnell, he has some person. That Tom Cotton, I'm like, dude, sit down. You are. He talks like that. Like, shut up. No, shut up. Trump, he was interesting enough. I mean, he would yell, but he had variations in his voice. Tom Cotton, I'm like, dude.
If not Cotton, DeSantis. I heard with Trump not running, DeSantis has like 43% GOP approval for wanting to be the next candidate. So if not Cotton, DeSantis. But trust and believe somebody's going to make it.
DeSantis is the governor of Florida, right?
Mm-hmm. DeSantis. Mm-hmm.
DeSantis, yep. Okay, David, you've been quiet too long. Go ahead.
I think the real question is anybody going to try to primary Biden?
That is an excellent question. I don't think any of the Democrats will.
I don't think
I
anybody's got
don't
it.
think the party would let them, just like they didn't let
Bernie.
anybody primary Trump.
Yeah.
You know, the party, you got to stand by your president. If you don't stand by your president, you're probably gonna lose. Okay, you know, because it's say, you know, you don't have anybody, you don't have any type of leadership. You just can't throw somebody. I mean, if somebody's gonna run for president, they need to be running right now. You know, they need to be starting right now, 4 years ahead of time, so everybody would get to know. You can't just come up to primary and say, well, I'm gonna primary the president. The party ain't gonna let you do it. They just keep your name off the ballots in all the states.
But you know what? But David does bring up a excellent thing to think of. Is the whole the Democrats have a progressive wing, and if they get upset enough, maybe they move over to the People's Party and maybe over to the Green Party and say, you know what, we're not voting for you again. Not necessarily
that's something.
I don't think primary is going to happen, but maybe they move out of the party and say, okay.
That could happen. You know, I doubt it, but that could happen.
But does everybody remember when Joe was running? Now, mind you, take whatever he says with a grain of salt. Didn't he only say he was going to do one term? So by all rights,
no, he said, I thought he was
passed to Kamala.
I thought he said we'll wait and see.
He said one term as far as I knew, but I could be wrong.
But of course, he also fought people at his rallies, though. I'm like, dude, you cannot be fighting people at your rallies. Come on, dude. But hey, Blue MAGA says the man, he started it. But you know, it's amazing. I'm like, Democrats, you had 2 jobs. They were real simple, and they snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory better than anybody, any group of people. You had victory. It was right there. All you had to do was just pass it. And then you could have used that to run against Republicans, because then you could have said, hey, look, all of us Democrats, we voted for the $15 minimum wage.
Exactly.
We voted for the $2,000 checks. But look at these people that voted against it, and now you don't even have that. And so I don't know, like you said, it's basically they want a party to blame, because they never thought, it's us. Oh, we can't use that as an excuse. Oh no, it's over. But I did want to move on to the next issue. The great state of New York now has a governor problem. Cuomo has decided that it's no time. He's in trouble from all hands. He's purposely falsifying. He's accused of falsifying COVID death numbers, basically sending off people to nursing homes to die of COVID. And now he has, I thought it was just one, but you all just informed me he has 2 sexual
harassment accusers.
Not sexual assault, but sexual harassment.
Well, the first lady, Lindsay Boylan, said he actually forcibly kissed her. So there is inappropriate contact. The second one, it was more so innuendo and inappropriate comments.
So one is assault and the other one is just inappropriate comments.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to make of this, but I'm going to let y'all go with this one. Because I'm like, I was literally like, what? It's like, should he resign? I mean, I know he's not going to resign, because he's another one with an ego that's just like,
Well, literally, I'm thinking finally. I remember hearing dust-ups about the nursing homes. I thought it was just like as of September, but I read an article where they had actually reported it way back in May. And Assemblyman Kim has been ringing the alarm bells since at least last May. So the media ignored this. They put him on display as some paradigm of virtue and how you should handle the COVID crisis, where he was secretly shipping off old people to nursing homes to die and kill others. 15,000 people are dead. And then to add insult to injury, he covers it up for the nursing homes and gives them immunity so they can't get sued by the loved ones who have lost their family forever. He is by just disgusting. And you best believe in the whataboutism world, if this was Trump, his butt would have been ran out of town on a rail. So I need them to do the same for this Democrat that has literally sold down the river the American people. That's not okay.
Yep, and remember that Cuomo was the governor who is proposing Medicaid cuts during the time of a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Charles, take it away before I start screaming, because I'm just like,
you know, if he's done all this stuff, yeah, I guess he needs to be out of office. I mean, I'm trying to,
jail.
you know, why were you covering up the numbers?
You know what his excuse was? I didn't mean to cut in front of you, Charles, but he said something to the effect of, I didn't know how Trump would take it. You serious? I mean, he literally said that with his mouth. Not, you know, this should never have happened. He went to I'm paraphrasing very loosely because I got to find the exact quote. But basically it was, I didn't know how the administration was going to take it.
It was something to the effect that they were worried that the Justice Department was going to use this politically and basically try to prosecute them wrongly. But literally what it really was is the nursing homes had put hundreds of thousands into his reelection campaign, and it was a bribe.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that's the worst. Again, Charles, take it, because I'm just ready to pop. Like, I cannot believe it.
I guess if Trump don't go to jail, then I'm sure he probably not going to jail either.
I don't know. A governor's different from a president.
Yeah, they'll probably just find him.
Pardon him.
You know, yeah. I just want to see this stuff start to go into the courts. You know, let's get past the investigations. Let's get past the accusation. Let's get to the charging, because I don't see, you know, what the problem is. It wouldn't take this long to prosecute me or you.
Absolutely.
If we were accused of doing something there. You know, that's why I would like it to get into court, so the whole story comes out to what actually happened, instead of just these accusations. Because, you know, when you're accusing somebody, you might not be telling the whole story, you know. And then what were your motivations for accusing him? Why did you wait until, I mean, when did this happen?
Well, the nursing home stuff was recent. The allegations have gone way back. I mean, way back. And women in the
what happened? You just woke up this morning and just start feeling it? Well, I'm gonna accuse you, you know, it's bothering me this morning. God, if it didn't bother you the day it happened, then it shouldn't have been a problem.
Well, I'll say this in this fashion. I know that Cuomo has suggested in the past that he's been inappropriate with women. Now, I know that much. And I'm like, okay, dude, you should have been gone a long time ago. And there's at least you got these two women, and I'm separating it from the nursing home incident. You got these two women accusing him, but they're not the only two. There's at least, I want to say 5 or 6. And I may
that are accusing Cuomo?
Yes. It's more than 2.
Oh, so where they at?
Wait a minute. I know there's more than 2. I definitely know there's more than 2. I can't think of their names, but I'm gonna get it while David talks.
Yeah, so in terms of Cuomo, you know, the Green Party's actually been familiar with Cuomo's dirty tricks for a number of years. Our 2020 presidential candidate, Howie Hawkins, was the gubernatorial candidate against Cuomo the last 2 election cycles that he went up for election. Now, obviously, Cuomo won. Us being the Green Party, we didn't quite, make it that time. But if you ever want to get into a discussion about New York politics, give Howie a heads up, and he'll be happy to get you some insights, I'm sure. But I don't pay too much attention to New York politics, but if this happened here in Indiana, I would be, pretty devastated. And, I would hope that, this other party does enough to, clean up their own mess.
You know why, David? I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. The reason I brought it up is because during, especially the primaries, if I had saw one more report bringing him up as presidential material, are you serious? Are you serious? This guy who I know said he wanted cuts in Medicaid. He's been advocating to cut Medicaid for years. Could you imagine this guy on a national level trying to do this? Well, let me take it back, because Joe Biden's been trying to cut Social Security for years, and now he's president. So what
it could happen.
But he didn't. He didn't run, did he? Cuomo didn't run because he.
No,
they were saying
no, but the way they were laying down accolades for him, I was like, stop it.
It was forecast that it was coming.
And he takes such charge. He literally wasn't saying anything that I couldn't have said.
Right.
You put me in some classes, sit me in front of a desk. Basically, he was just reading off of a cue card.
That's
basically.
It.
I mean, I know Trump is stupid. Come on. The way they were fawning on him, I'm like, stop.
It was quite disgusting. And then with the sexual harassment accusations, Charles, I know for a fact the first 2 or the last 2 that came out, I don't know about the other ones, but I did hear there was a history, but the last 2 that came out, supposedly they came out because there was rattling that Joe Biden was considering Cuomo for a member in his cabinet. And so they were like, no. So they were like, if it just happened to us, fine, we'll just go about our business and get away from him. But the fact that he could get on a more national scale and possibly do this to other women, that's why they came forward. And
well, I listen to what you're saying. It's like this person is being vindictive, because he's still out there.
Making sure other women can do it.
Hey man, hold on. Let me let Charles finish his point, because I want you to explain how this is vindictive, because I don't get that.
He's still doing what he's doing, but you're saying, well, as long as he doesn't go into a different position, well, I'll keep quiet about it. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so I don't think that's what the women were saying. I think what the women were saying is, if he's going to consider Cuomo for a cabinet level position, we want Joe to know what he's really about. That's the way I'm taking it. And I could be totally wrong in the way that I'm interpreting it, because if that's me and something happened, I'm going to say something about something that happened years ago, because I'm going to say on front, hey, look, this happened to me. This is what he did. And you need to know about it, because we know that the Biden administration, we know how Biden was vetted. Come on, we all know that Joe Biden was accused of.
And you also got to know how women are treated. Like when they come out about this type of stuff. And Cuomo is very powerful.
When it initially happened, back when it initially, you don't have a police report. It's nothing. It's like it comes down to
these are 20-something.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me ask this question. I got to ask it. I'm sorry, Talisha. Just let me. Okay, so women are harassed and assaulted year after year, and they don't make the trauma of being sexually harassed and sexually assaulted can live with a woman for years and years, and she may never report it because, one, this society has put women in a powerless position. She's going to get attacked for who she is, no matter when especially if she brings out the case against a powerful man. People are going to come for her. So she's thinking, I got to protect my family. I got to protect myself. So I'll keep quiet. For her to finally come out, okay, let's just all assume that she's lying. I'm not going to say whether she's telling the truth or she's not. At least he should say, let there be an investigation. that he's
He
not
said,
appointing
didn't
the
he say,
people to.
he said
If
he
he's
wanted a
innocent,
bipartisan.
if
He
he's
said he wanted a
innocent, he would not.
bipartisan
Right.
investigation.
But if he's innocent, he would not be appointing people that he's appointed to do the investigation, knowing good well they're not going to find anything. If
He
you're
wanted to
innocent,
appoint an
you're going to welcome
extra.
investigation. You could be like, "Yep,
Well,
great."
then they should be at the police station filing a report, and
Oh,
then
you mean
a
the police
prosecutor.
station?
But you realize women don't file police reports when they're raped because
No,
they're
I'm
scared.
talking about even now. I'm talking about now. You know, now you would get a not a special prosecutor. I guess you get the prosecutor who's wherever you filed your complaint at.
You
You
mean
know,
the
it's
police station where he
okay.
was probably
You make an
buddying up with the police
accusation,
chief?
but
We're gonna have to agree
I'm
to
sorry?
disagree on this one because I'm like, no, women do not file reports when the incident happens because they're scared, because they're powerless, because they're literally traumatized by the event. Whether she came out, whether it happened 10 years ago, 20 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, or 50 years ago, that accusation is still valid. And if he were innocent, like he says he is, then he would be like, okay, investigate. And
And
I'll
he
tell you,
doggone
yeah,
sure
but
when
the
they came
only
out yesterday and apologized.
I question,
woman,
no, I question your only reason for doing this is because he's going to a different position. You said to a cabinet position. He's
I don't know if that
governor.
was the only
You know,
reason. That was just one of the reasons.
that's one of the reasons that they came out.
so what's
I don't know
the
if that was the
other
only
reason?
reason. I don't know if that was
What's
the
the
only
other
reason. I
reason?
just know there was rumblings that he was going to attain that higher office. But I don't even think it was like that because they didn't leave in like, some fiery, I got fired and because I wouldn't sleep with him, da 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 da. They literally like the Lindsay Boylan that basically said what it was this time. She made rumblings about it months ago when she finally left the office and saying something happened and she didn't
Yeah,
feel comfortable saying it. And she finally came out and said what that something was a couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
The other lady, I don't really know her motivations, but she also said, and Cuomo would make inappropriate comments in front of her, talking about, do you like being with an older man? Is there an age different thing with you? And that's not okay. And even if, Tracy makes a very valid point. Yeah, women aren't treated, we were treated like to be lying. We're actually put through basically the harassment all over again, trying to justify why we came forward. But on top of that, you got to remember, as the governor of New York, how many police commissioners does he have in his back pocket? How
Yep.
many detectives is he buddy with? Him and his brother are lawyers. They came up in that system. They're princes of New York. So me as Joe Schmo or Joanna Schmo
Yeah, Joanne.
going to the police to say, hey, this guy, this powerful governor is harassing me. Who's gonna believe me?
Nobody.
It's by circumstance that this he's getting a lot of light on him because of the COVID deaths that they can come out now and say, okay, and by the way, he's also a sexual harasser because they needed him to have some type of dent in that armor for them to break through because nobody was going to listen. Like I said, the initial COVID death reporting on him and his scandal was back in May. We just heard about it when? Like a couple of months ago?
Almost year apart. Okay, David, you've been quiet. You've been too quiet over there.
No, I mean, he's got to hold himself accountable, and everybody in his, home state and his home party over there in New York got to, hold him accountable, or else, who is? Because his friends aren't going to hold him accountable. His coworkers aren't going to hold him accountable. His own circles has got to hold him accountable. His own counterparts, everybody there. But
Exactly. And you know what I always say, and I'm going to continue to have this opinion. Sometimes blue MAGA is worse than red MAGA.
True.
Because blue MAGA is just like, sure, you lied to us about $2,000 check. Okay, because you're not that guy. And I'm like, well, we are going to have to, as citizens, say, you know what? I don't care if you have a D, R, or I at the end of your name. You don't deliver. There's the door, and I'll see you when I see you. Because this kind of stuff with Cuomo that's coming up, and sure, that's to the people of New York, and I live here in Indiana. But if he had gotten that cabinet position, oh my goodness, that just would have been that. Thank goodness he didn't get it, and somebody possibly did their job. Although Biden is president, and I still question his, but that's a whole nother episode for later. I just am like, okay, and I'm not even gonna say anything about because even there was a female congressperson that she had to get out of the race because a man accused her of inappropriate comments. So this is gender neutral because men can be sexually assaulted, women can be sexually assaulted.
And shout out to Tish James, the AG of New York. She dropped that report. I feel some kind of way about there not being any kind of criminal prosecution, but she dropped that report on the nursing home deaths a couple of months back. And now she's doing an independent investigation about this harassment scandal. So shout out to her for being, leading the charge on holding powerful accountable when they're just as corrupt as people that don't have power.
Yeah, so we're going to move on to the next issue, the golden Trump statue. I literally, when I saw this, I'm like, so they gonna break all the 10 commandments up in here like this. They just, I'm like, did they read the part about not worshiping golden images, or did they just skip that part? I'll let David go first because I think the guy who made it, was he from Florida or Indiana?
I don't even know. It wouldn't surprise me either one of them or both.
Yeah, I'm like,
no, you guys saw it, but this thing is massive. It's a huge caricature of him, and I thought the funniest thing about it was, that he's from the waist down in a swimsuit and sandals. He's got the business suit from the waist up, but I can't believe it was real. I thought it was a joke when I first saw it, and the more I think about it, the crazier it seems. But we really are living in that kind of world today. So
yeah, I'm like, okay, what's next? The mark of the beast? I mean, what are they doing? Like, really? Yeah. Charles, you next. Just like,
Hey, I expected somebody to have him line up and pull down them trunks, and everybody kisses his behind to pledge their oath to him. That I just shook my head. I said, "Gee, they're worshiping a false prophet and a false or a golden idol." Man, that's what can. There's nothing you can do with people like that. It's just outvote them. I guess that's probably about it. But I don't know how much his support is going to stay. I just don't. If I just don't know how it's going to be in 2024. What's going to happen? Because, like I say, Trump didn't run against Biden. Trump ran against the pandemic, and he ran against racial issues, and that's why he lost. Okay, it wasn't because Biden was gonna do all these great things. It was because Trump just needed to go, and Biden was the only one there. I could have voted for none of the above if that was on the ballot and not voted for Trump. Okay, so that's the way I feel about it.
Okay, Talisha, you next.
I really don't have a lot to say about that. I think we all know that golden statue was ridiculous. That is part and parcel of the Trump brand, and so I chalk it up to that. This is MAGA. This is his cult, and MAGA go MAGA.
I got a whole bunch of thoughts about this, surprisingly. I don't know why. The first thing I thought of, besides, okay, so they're going to break all the 10 commandments, was I think that goes back to my original point about why I think Trump is going to run. Because if that core is so dedicated to him that they will make literally a golden statue with shorts on the bottom and business on the top, and that he said it wasn't an idol. He said it was a statue. It's an idol. Boy, you go sit down somewhere. Um, it's just this. It just encases me, and I can't believe I'm just like sitting here thinking, really, really. But I'm gonna save my thoughts for a rant that I'm gonna do later by myself. But I wanted to make the last segment of the show quick, because I said I'm gonna try to keep these under a certain amount of time. It's our David. You don't know this, but we have an idiot of the week segment that we do. So we name our idiot of the week, and we briefly tell why we're picking that person. So I'll let you go first.
For idiot of the week. Who is my idiot of the week? I don't know.
So many stupid people.
There's so many of them. I mean, there's
choose. I'll just go with Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz.
Ah, damn, that was mine.
Yeah. It was kind of from last week, but you know, he's the worst idiot of them all. You know?
Okay, Charles, you next.
Mine is Mitch McConnell. I mean, he said.
Oh, I think Charles is froze out.
Oh
Okay.
no.
So
the power of Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
The magic turtle strikes again.
Yeah. Talisha, you go next.
Moscow, Mitch.
Well, I'm going to second David's order of Ted Cruz. I particularly have an issue with his punk butt going to CPAC and making light of him going to Cancun. And the only thing that over and over in my mind keeps playing is that 11-year-old baby froze to death in his bed, trying to keep his brother warm. And so it sickens me that he thinks it's funny that he went to Cancun while everybody else in Texas was suffering. So I wish non-re-election on him. I wish his wife leave him. I wish for him to be destitute and poor, just like those folks that he left behind. Ted Cruz is my idiot of the week.
He might get it for the year. I'm not serious. I'm serious. But my idiot of the week is very simple. It's a group of people. Everybody that attended the CPAC convention. Y'all is all crazy. I don't know if the worship of one man makes you. No, it does. It makes you an idiot. Because you're worshiping someone that literally lied to you. He was gonna build a wall, and then took your dollars to pay for a wall that apparently Mexico was going to build. I mean, everything he says is a lie. But you go to a convention, hear him, and then when they broke across the news to show his face, oh, I wanted to throw up. I was like, I was doing good not seeing you. Now I got to see you again. So that's my idiot of the week. Everybody that attended the CPAC convention, and Charles, you're back, so you didn't give your. We said Mitch McConnell cut you off.
Oh, okay.
He
was backflipping. He did more backflips than Simone Biles in the Olympics. He went back and forth with Trump being responsible for the riots, but when he got to CPAC, finally he said that if Trump ran for president again, he would support.
Yeah, that's
that's my idiot of the week.
Yeah, well, I am so glad that we had a very interesting discussion. We did not get to my Indiana congressman that decided he was going to call in, write a letter, say he was sick, but he showed up at the CPAC convention. I'm going to get to that. Next week, period. But I want to thank everyone for watching this very, very shortened edition of the show. So join us next week. This show, remember, airs on Friday. So remember to like, share, subscribe, and please support us on Patreon. I will see everyone hopefully soon next week to my panel. And David, I want to see you back sometime, and you let me know when, please.
All right. Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Have a great evening, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, everybody. I just recorded another episode of Tracy Takes On. So I wanted to get in here and make a special announcement. You'll see some links in the description section about a little slash fundraiser awareness thing that I'm doing to get some traffic to this site. Um, Link on it, please, because it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping to see you there. It'll be Saturday, July the 24th, I believe, from I want to say 7 o'clock to maybe 8:30. I believe that's the time. So all the links will be in the comment section. Again, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I wanted to share another announcement with you all is I'm doing another show. So yay. So Tracy Media is doing another show. And I'm looking at my phone so I can tell you all how to find it. So I'm just gonna be here just a moment. And it'll be just a moment here. Okay, so I'm trying to find it, so I apologize. I just can't get it to do what I want it to do. So we're gonna go with my website. Okay, so the show is called Stay Woke with Tracy. So every Monday through Friday, I will come on and I'll go live on Facebook. And I'll talk about some of the political news of the day, but it'll be from a whole different perspective. It'll be more pop culture based. And right now, as of taping, let's see, it's 126 days until the show gets started. And you can find it on tracymedia.com. That's where all the information is. So look for that. By the time this show airs Friday, it'll be like 122 or 121, one of those two. But right now, as of taping, it's 126 days until Stay Woke with Tracy airs on my YouTube channel every Monday through Friday, 1 hour from 8 o'clock p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you all again. Continue to watch, share, like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks.